Shame on the streets of Manchester as rioters target shops in the city centre on a fourth night of violence in Britain.
But if you're law-abiding and you've got no reason to sort of fear the police, you wouldn't need to hide your identity.
I'm not law-abiding, man.
You're not law-abiding?
No.
Disorder in the West Midlands too. 80 are arrested in the region. And residents in several parts of London are guarding their streets against troublemakers.
This is Sky News with Samantha Simmons.
Good morning. A senior police officer in Manchester has described the violence in the city as unprecedented and the worst it has endured in 30 years. There have been clashes on the streets with police trying to keep track of groups roaming the city. At least one shop has been set on fire. Others, including clothes and mobile phone stores, have been looted. There's also unrest in the Midlands. 80 people have been arrested in Wolverhampton, West Bromwich and in Birmingham. Police in Nottingham say a police station in the city was firebombed by a group of 30 to 40 men. There are no reports of injuries and 8 people have been arrested. There are also reports of trouble in Liverpool and in Leicester. Let's go live to Manchester city centre and join Sky's Gamal Fambole. Gamal, what's the latest there?
Well, this is Corporation Street in Manchester city centre, a street that is usually buzzing, vibrant, full of revellers at this time in the morning. But as you can see, there are a number of young people, youths, really hell-bent on really having their voices heard. They've been for the past few hours now, and at the moment there is not much sign of them seeming to be going away. There are 1 or 2 youths who are wearing hoods. There is a police presence here, a little bit, about 150 metres in that direction. They are kind of blocking that access into Manchester, further into the city centre, into the Deansgate area. But it seems that at the moment there is very, very little that they can do. Mike McCarthy spoke to a few of those youths earlier on. Here's what they had to say to him.
Come out for money.
You've come out for money, so it's not anger, you've just come out for money.
Because the police nick you for stupid things, mate. And now this is our payback, because they can't do nothing to us today. The police can't do nothing.
Everyone is just in town, just going mad and everything, but all I'm saying is people just stuff in it, know what happened in town, like in London and that. Just angry people, do you know what I mean? They're just taking the anger out, you get me?
So what do you think about the people who are looting and smashing windows in your city?
I think that's wrong.
Nah, it is wrong, don't get it twisted, it is wrong, but they're trying to make money because they can't get to college, you know what I mean? And they just think they're on the way, there's no employment, I can't get a job or nothing, and they just think the best way, why not make quick money?
Yeah. All the uni loans and like all the finances things have all gone up, so everyone's just frustrated, aren't they? Just showing everyone's frustration, because everyone's got no future, to be honest. No one can see a future because everything's expensive now. Everything, like the VAT's gone up, everything's just gone up, and everyone's just showing frustration.
It doesn't excuse looting, though, does it?
Pardon?
It doesn't excuse looting.
No.
Right.
It's just, I think, to be honest, I think everyone's just frustrated.
It was a bad thing.
But other people just taking advantage, you know, to make a profit and just steal stuff.
Because you get old people doing it, there's no reason like they should be sat at home telling their kids to stay at home, but they're out here doing it with them. Do you know
overall,
what I mean?
we're not here for anything, you know, like robbing or nothing. We're just here, you know,
just looking to get home, but I can't get home because it's blocked down there. Well, in a couple of hours, Assistant Chief Constable Gary Shewan from Greater Manchester Police gave a statement. Here's what he had to say.
Since late afternoon, Greater Manchester police officers have been faced with extraordinary levels of violence from groups of people intent on shameful criminality against the people and the communities of Greater Manchester. Shops have been targeted, they've been looted and set on fire, as criminals have, I think, brought shame upon the cities, particularly of Manchester and Salford, and brought no sense of any understanding about the impact of their actions. With no sense of the impact that they can have in terms of people, their livelihood, on the reputation of these cities. These are pure and simple criminals who have been running wild tonight across Greater Manchester, particularly in the city centre and in Salford. And I want to make it absolutely clear, they have nothing to protest against. There is nothing in a sense of injustice, and there has been no spark which has led to this. This has been senseless violence and senseless criminality on a scale that I have never witnessed before in my career. Officers of Greater Manchester Police and other emergency services have been attacked while these people intent, hell-bent on looting and stealing property have shown complete disregard for the safety of the emergency services and also for the people of Greater Manchester. This has been an incredibly challenging situation, and my officers are out there now still facing incredible levels of aggression and violence and still making arrests as we battle to regain control here in Manchester and Salford. We have been inundated with support from our communities about how much they want to support Greater Manchester Police in bringing these people to justice. And I would ask everybody who has any information with regard to anybody who has committed acts of violence, burglary, looting, theft tonight to pass that information on to Greater Manchester Police. We will continue to make arrests as the evening progresses. But again, I want to be very clear on this point. We have extensive CCTV footage of all the activity that has gone on tonight in Greater Manchester. We have made it absolutely clear that as early as tomorrow, we will come and arrest people who have been committing acts of violence and criminality against Manchester and Salford and other parts of Greater Manchester. I would like to thank all of our communities, other forces in the region who have supported us with resources over this evening, and our partners, without whose support and help we would have had an even harder task today. I believe that Manchester and Salford has been shamed by these criminals this evening, and we will leave no stone unturned in bringing to justice those people who have committed these wanton acts of violence and criminality. I'm very proud of Greater Manchester police officers who have worked tirelessly over the few hours that we've been facing this violence and continue to put themselves at risk in terms of protecting life and property. And I would ask all members of communities across Greater Manchester to think very carefully and seriously about who they support and who they want to bring to justice for these acts which have ripped the heart out of two great cities.
Gamal, the Assistant Chief Constable of Manchester City Police, there talking about the shame that he feels. Just take us through the events of yesterday, the rioting, the looting and, of course, the setting fire to at least one shop.
Well, in Salford, first of all, there was a gathering of youths. They were there in the shopping precincts. Now, officers from Greater Manchester Police, they came out in their numbers, and then there was a standoff. And then those youths were eventually dispersed. But then a little while later, it essentially just kicked off again with these youths running amok, running riots through Salford shopping precincts, an area that is really the heart of the community there. There are reports of journalists being attacked, cars, vehicles being set alight. And then when you move on into Manchester city centre, there, a place that is normally such a vibrant, buzzing place, it was complete and utter chaos. Miss Selfridge's on Market Street, that was set alight. Foot Locker, that was completely ransacked. The shop window was smashed. A wave of youths went inside there, and they took whatever they could. They took trainers, clothes, baseball caps, and then some of them even threw the baseball caps onto the ground, leaving it for others to pick off and then walk away. We heard from Councillor Pat Carney from Manchester City Council a little bit earlier on. This is what he had to say about these unprecedented scenes in Manchester city centre.
I was shocked and horrified to see the ages of some of these hooligans and thugs. We're talking about 9, 10, 11-year-olds with balaclavas on, walking up the main shopping street in Manchester as though it was a fantastic night out, and that they could jump on the shops, jump on people as they went up Market Street. People are very, very angry in the city and do want to see, as Gary Shoon said, these people before the courts as soon as possible and pay for the consequences of their action. And we've got to ask households in Manchester as well, because this is not all the solution of the police or the solution of Manchester City Council. Those people who have took home trainers tonight, jeans, bottles of spirits, bottles of booze, boxes of food, you've got to ask yourself, if you're a parent, how did your teenage son in the main or your teenage daughter come across these goods? And you've got a duty to phone Greater Manchester Police if you are a true Mancunian and you believe in Manchester. Manchester people love their city, and this destruction of the city centre tonight is one of the worst and the worst days that Manchester's ever seen. Is one of the worst and the worst days that Manchester's ever seen.